Hello there. Happy Monday. New Black Metal Monday today. I got some cool stuff to show off and talk about. So only three bands I'm talking about today, but several albums of their catalog I finally got in. I would say there's probably a theme for today's Black Metal Monday in the sense that it's atmospheric aggressive, with the exception of maybe one band. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So hopefully you're having a very good Monday today. Valentine's Day, if you celebrate that, happy Valentine's Day. And then post Super Bowl hangover. I was gonna say hangout, hangover. If you're in the U.S. or if you follow football, football as in the brown pigskin football, not football, soccer. Um, I am none of those things. I mean, obviously, yay, Valentine's Day. I did watch the Super Bowl. I thought it was a good game. Whatever. I like football. I didn't care about who won, though. I wasn't a fan of any of the teams. So, but yeah, I'm feeling it today. It's definitely a Monday. I'm dragging a little bit of ass today. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't up late, not hungover or anything like that. Just for whatever reason, I'm exhausted. I had a very busy week last week, and I feel like I just never recovered from it. So I'm sure you guys have all had those days. So the bleak black metal Monday seems to be fitting for my mood today. So all this music I listened to pretty much everything once over this weekend so I could do this video and talk fresh on it. So ignore the Tool stuff. My CD tower is now right here. I had to move it because I added another shelf back there. And these don't fit on the shelf, so they're just propped up here, and they just so happen to be in the frame, but I could just picture somebody commenting and being like, oh, you're making a black metal video, but there's Tool things in the background, which fuck me, I didn't take them down for the video. But anyway, almost everybody at least once has pointed these out in the last couple of videos that I've had. So I thought that was kind of funny because I like forget that they're even there. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So I got two CDs to show off. Surprisingly, I did not have these in my collection yet, and I don't know why it took me so long to get them. I guess maybe I just never really made it a priority until recently. But I saw that Night Shift merch had them in stock, and so I just grabbed them immediately, did not go and see if they were cheaper anywhere else or anything like that. I just did it because Night Shift merch is in Florida, and they get stuff to me within basically a day or two because they're only 3 hours from me. So it's pretty nice to buy stuff from them because they're so local. So anyway, none of these need an introduction whatsoever. But again, I got them in my collection, so I figured I would talk about them. So, Over and Over. So the first album and the third album of the black metal trilogy, as people call it, or I don't even know if the they down at that too. Over, again, needs no introduction. I don't think I need to go into detail about the band in general. For the most part, I only know their first three albums. The second album I'm working on getting. Surprisingly, it's relatively expensive on CD. I mean, expensive than what I would like to pay for a CD. But I think I might have found one that is on Armageddon Shop, which is an amazing store, by the way, within a decent price range. So I'll probably pick that up sometime this week just to get it into the collection. But the first three albums by Over are the only ones that I'm familiar with. I know that they drastically changed their sound after this. They're pretty much not a black metal band anymore. I think they're more of like electronic metal or just an electronic band in general. I know that they came out with an album recently within the last couple of years. I have not heard it. I don't know if I'm going to dive into their discography. Some people absolutely still love them, regardless of the changes they've gone through, and other people have just been like, this is the last album I'll ever listen to them. But I will say, out of the two, I absolutely love the first three albums. But out of these two that I have here, right here, I would say this is probably my favorite over this. But again, that is probably also depending on my mood. So this one is obviously, is this pretty much considered the first like ever raw-ish black metal album? Like really, really, well, I guess no, because Dark Throne, I'm speaking out of my ass right now. But anyway, this is a pretty raw black metal sounding album. Phenomenal. The production is so much different from this one. This one has a more, atmospheric, acoustic-y, folkiness side. And this one's more harsher sounding. So depending on my mood. For the most part, this one is generally my favorite album of the two. But there are days where this just hits the spot and I absolutely love it. And one of those days was this past week where, again, I bought these and was like, man, I haven't listened to Over in such a long time. And this album just really hit it on the head for me in terms of my mood lately. But I listened to this morning and again was reminded of how fantastic of an album this is. The second album, again, I'm not saying the album names because I'm going to butcher them. I'm not even going to try. The second album is also fantastic. I'll talk about that more when I finally have it on a physical copy. But I don't know what issues these are or anything like that. Obviously, they're probably not original presses. I mean, because I got them through Night Shift, and Night Shift for the most part doesn't sell stuff like that unless it's a newer release where they've got pre-orders up. But here's the booklet, and then this side right there. So, and then of course the case came broken because of course it did. That post office man, they tend to like to just stomp on envelopes that look similar to a tape or a CD pretty much every single time. It doesn't matter how well it's packed either, and Night Shift does a pretty good job of packing their stuff. So, and there's the CD right there. So again, I don't know what pressing this is. It's probably a recent repress that came out. It doesn't even have a date on the back, but there's the back if you're interested. Some people really like to know the pressing details. And then for this one, similar back it looks like. And just the plain black CD. And then the booklet for this one. The one thing I hate about CDs is that sometimes the booklet is impossible to get out. And I always like make a crease or a dent in it, and it drives me nuts. I try to keep it in perfect condition, but this one has lyrics and those frosty, nice black metal images with their garb on. Interesting choice of shirts and stuff like that. There's the spiked wrist. So again, I don't know what pressings these are. They're probably a repress from like within the last year or so. Nothing spectacular there in that regards. I don't have a whole lot of original releases in my collection at all, unless it's a newer release that's come out within the last 10 years. Anything prior to that, it's just all represses. So my collection is not one of those super amazing collections where I have all these awesome first presses that are just hard to find. And I have a couple, but not a lot. So anyway, Over, again, needs no more introduction. You guys know a lot about this band, I'm sure, already, and you probably have a lot of opinions in regards to those first 3 albums that they put out. I'm working on the second one, I'll get it, but for now, I picked those up, and that was a pretty good grab. I've been trying to get my CD collection back. I had thousands of CDs back in the day, and then when I went away to college, I was living in the city, didn't have a job, wanted extra money to go out and party and drink and do all those things, and so I sold my whole entire CD collection because I had just gotten into the digital wave. I got an iPod, I had a computer, I was heavily into iTunes, I was buying music that way, and thought to myself, I'm probably never going to want to buy a CD again. And then here we are, where I'm spending all this money getting back the CDs that I used to own back in the day. So we're getting there. This thing is almost full. This holds over 200 CDs, and it's almost full already, and I got this less than 6 months ago, so we'll see. All right, so moving on. I got some new vinyl, new bands, no old school black metal, all new bands. I mean, I think for the most part, actually, this band, let me look up how long they've been around for a while, because I don't want to speak out of line here and not be accurate with this representation. Yeah, relatively new bands. This first band I'm about to show has been out since about 2009. So I got this in recently, and I've been listening to it a lot. I don't know much about this band at all. You're seeing it now. This is the new Fluisteraars. I don't know, guys. It's just sometimes the band names are just impossible for me to pronounce. So this was trending on Bandcamp in the black metal section. It was pretty much suggested for me as well. So I listened to it a while ago. This came out last year. This is their fourth full length, I believe. Yes, their fourth full length. This came out last year, so this was a release from last year. And I did actually buy this several months ago, but I finally got it in. So it came from overseas. It finally was in. Fantastic album. Very, very aggressive sounding. There's atmospheric elements to it. It's very emotional. There's so many elements into it. It's not just aggressive black metal. There's a lot more layers into this album. It's only 3 songs, and the last song is 20 minutes long, and the last song is a masterpiece. I will just say that. So if you've had the pleasure to be able to listen to this album, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's on Eisenwald right now. And the album name is something in another language. The band is from the Netherlands, so it's all within a language that unfortunately I'm not able to read. But so that's the outside, and these pressings are so nice and worth the cost, I will say, because they were a little bit pricey. But the way the jacket is, it has like this, I'm sure you can see that, like, shininess. So there was 2 different copies. There was a red version and like a yellow version. I grabbed the red because red's my favorite color. And it has like this like foil, so like this, like, I don't know what it's called, some sort of like a window. And when you take the insert out, there's another image on the background. It's just a really nice added touch. I mean, so that's what I'm trying to show you guys. So, and then there's the back. So it's this really nice jacket, really nice like matte paper finish. I don't know, but it's got like this picture window that's red, and then there's another version that's yellow, and then a printed inner sheet with any image that you want to put in the front, and there's the band on that side. So it's just plain black vinyl. So it's not a special color version. Heavy duty. 180 gram black vinyl, really, really nice. But again, it comes with this like picture window. I thought it was a cool touch, I don't know, that wasn't the selling factor for me. Obviously the selling factor was the music. But again, you pop it in here, you can change the picture in the front. Fits a little bit snug with the vinyl in there. So yeah, a very, very, very good album. Like I said, I don't know anything else about this band. I've never heard anything else that they put out. This is their 4th full length. And in general, this is probably one of my favorite releases to come out last year. I did not feature it in my black metal favorite releases video because I hadn't listened to it a whole lot before I made that video, so I didn't feel right putting it in there. But now that, almost 2 months have passed and I've been listening to it a lot, especially now that I finally got it on vinyl, it's a really great album. So I need to dive into their discography and go further and listen to their other albums, because I imagine I'll probably enjoy them a lot. But again, this is sold out on their Bandcamp. Eisenwald may have it on their website, and then I've seen it on Discogs for stupid prices, so don't pay that. But again, really great album. And check this out if you haven't heard it yet. Again, Bandcamp for the win on this regard. I probably wouldn't have even listened to it if it hadn't been in that trending section. So that was the first vinyl. The next are all by the same band. They came out with a brand new album this year, which I will show you right now on Century Media. And it was ridiculously expensive to buy retail. Century Media's prices just have been really bothering me lately. Their vinyl prices are kind of insane, including their CDs. Like, a CD is pretty much the same as a vinyl. But I did pre-order this because I know this band, obviously, and was really excited for what I had heard. So it's finally out. But if you're waiting on this, or if you have a pre-order, I think they did another release that hasn't been released yet. Like, they repressed it and it hasn't been released yet. So this is an international copy that I bought. I think I spent it ended up being about $50 altogether with shipping, which is more than what I would like to buy on a vinyl. But again, I knew I was going to end up loving this album, which I do. So it ended up being a good price for me to buy. But if you're waiting on this, I don't know what's going on or where you bought it from, but they've pressed a million copies of this on different variants all across the board. So this is the new Wiegedood, I think is how you say their name, with, what is this called? There's Always Blood at the End of the Road. This is their newest release that just came out this year, like within a couple of weeks ago. And again, if you have this on pre-order, you might have pre-ordered something that hasn't been released yet, because I think the first one sold out so fast, and then they repressed it and automatically put them up for sale. So again, Century Media, they put like this sticker right here, which I was gonna try and remove, and then it wasn't coming off. So I don't know why they did that, but little nuances that bother me that really shouldn't. So it's a double LP with one single jacket, which I don't mind when people do that. Like my Carcass albums are like that, because gatefolds sometimes annoy me. But in this case, it's a pretty heavy vinyl, so maybe a gatefold may have been more sustainable. I don't know. I'm sure there was a cost to that, but it's a double LP, and it's got these really nice printed inner sheets with these images of whatever they are. I don't know. Maybe water. I'm not even sure what this is. Ice. I don't know. And then on the other side is some liner notes and songs. So I got this like white like splatter, and then on the D side it is etched with lyrics. You probably cannot see that because the camera's not going to pick it up, but that's what it looks like. Not a fan of the coloring whatsoever. It's pretty bland ass color. It's like white with this like pinkish red swirl in there, and the both of the vinyls, I mean, they just pretty much look the same. Not really anything special at all. I don't know. I've seen other vinyl variants that looked a lot better than this, but again, when I made the pre-order, they hadn't released those yet, and this is what was still available. So but again, all right, so this band, let me pull up my notes about what I wrote about this album. Band out of Belgium. This is their fourth album. The first three, which I'm about to show you two other ones, were basically a trilogy, like of some sort, and that's, I'm more familiar with those albums obviously, but this new album, it is very abrasive, very strong, like screeching black metal. Like that's the type of lyrics it is. It's just a very, very abrasive black metal. He's got a very high-pitched screaming voice, some atmospheric elements, a little bit layers in there. It's not raw sounding. It's got good production quality. That's the best I can describe it without actually having you guys just go and listen to it yourself. I think it's a fantastic album, to be honest with you. I think it's their best that they've released out so far. I think they've progressed more. The vocals sound a little bit cleaner in regards to production quality, stuff like that. And I just think in general, it flows really well together as an album. I've listened to it several times, and it's probably one of my favorite releases to come out this year, although it's pretty early to say, considering it's only February. But again, a very solid first release to come out this year that I've really enjoyed. This is more in the vein of an atmospheric black metal, I guess you could say, side, but there's definitely that abrasiveness to it as well. And it's a really good album. So again, this may not be for everybody. I just blocked that in my head. This is a really heavy vinyl, by the way. This may not be for everybody. I can see some people really saying that they don't enjoy this at all, especially if you're more of a fan of like the 90s black metal style, stuff like that. They have their own sound. It's hard to say who they sound like, to be honest with you. And I'm just not too familiar with all of these black metal artists to say for fans of. I don't feel comfortable doing that. But I think you should just definitely check it out, give it a shot, and see what you think. But I do think it's a very good album. It's their best that they've put out so far, in my humble, honest opinion. And I really like it. Luxurious Vinyl Edition. Alright, Century Media, calm down. It's not that luxurious. I mean, if you want to talk about luxurious, this album, the way that they did this album with the window and all that stuff, this is a luxurious album. This is pretty basic, not gonna lie. So, that hype sticker is absolute bullshit. Anyway, schematics that don't matter. Alright, so I saw that Meteor Gem had a bundle deal for their other albums, for the first two albums that they come out, so I snagged them. Again, this is their trilogy. So this is one album name I'm going to try to say. All these albums are in languages that I just don't speak. So if you want to... There you go. So this is the first one. In my opinion, out of the three, I would say this one's probably my favorite. And that's just immediately because it's their first album. It's the first time I've ever heard them. So I'm a little bit of a bias in terms of that. It's a gatefold with the name of the album name. Nice images right here. They remind me very much of Seor or stuff like that. Seor, I always say their name. Just how it's just this, landscape. And then these are just like gray, white gray, which I prefer these colors a lot better. It sounds great. I love this album. I think it's very good. Again, it's more in the atmospheric, abrasive vein. And it's this like trilogy theme. Just a printed inner sheet right here. The song names. Nothing too fancy. But again, this album I think is great, and it's my favorite of the three. Their second is very good, which I'm about to show, and I don't own their third. That's the other one that I need to get. Out of the three, the third one is probably where I started to get a little bit lost. Wasn't a huge fan, didn't hate it, but was just done with the trilogy by then. So their fourth album that I just showed was a good progression. They did good, and they got away from this album as a whole. So that made me happy. So that was a good progression. So that's the first one, and then the second one is a very similar looking record. It's the same exact album name, but this just has 2 in it. Again, they look pretty similar. So if you don't have the hype sticker on there, yeah, you might have to, and you're not familiar with the album covers, you might have to try and figure out what you're listening to here. But very similar gatefold, if you don't obviously open it and see that it says 2, is what I'm saying. And there's the back, and then the same printed inner sheet. It looks like these were put out by a label that I am not familiar with. Consoling Sounds. At first I was going to say Season of Mist, but it is not Season of Mist. It reminds me a little bit of Season of Mist, of how they press their stuff. And then this one is the same color as the other one, maybe a little bit clearer. A little bit clearer. It has less of the black marble in there. So, yeah. Again, the first 2 I think are their best in the trilogy. The third one I think maybe I just might have been tired at that point. I just wanted them to maybe progress and move on a little bit from their sound and get off this trilogy madness. But in general, the band is very good. I really enjoy them. And like I said, they're from Belgium. There are 4 albums and I'm missing 1. But the newest one is out now. You should go ahead and take a look. You probably take a listen, I should say. You probably really enjoy it. But this is... I'm not even going to try to pronounce these album names. I'll link everything in the description like I always do, so you can go and take a listen. But if there's anything out of these new vinyls that I showed off today, I definitely think out of all of these, this one definitely really hits me right now. It has been fantastic. This one is getting my utmost respect and vinyl spins. It'll be on my platter for months and months and months. This is fantastic. It's only 3 songs. Over 40 minutes long though, because the final song is 20 minutes, but that 20 minutes goes by so fast because you get so into it. And it's a very, very good atmospheric style black metal song. It's got that epicness to it. And it's just very good. It's a very like raw, emotional album, similar to the Wiegedood. All of their albums sound similar, so these are pretty much these 4 albums together is in kind of the same vein of black metal sounds in regards to that. But this one is just simply phenomenal. If you haven't heard this yet, definitely check it out. I highly, highly recommend this for anybody that is looking for something new to listen to. So that's all that I have today, guys. That's my Black Metal Monday. I do still have several other things I haven't shown off yet, but I'm breaking them up to try and make this series go for a little while longer. But if there's anything in here that you heard today that you enjoy, let me know. If there's anything that you heard that you know about today that you don't like. I mean, I'm sure you'll let me know either way. Let me know if there's anything you hadn't heard that you listened to that you enjoyed, because I always like hearing those stories, and that is generally the purpose of my videos. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. I hope it is not a downer Monday, and hopefully you guys have a good week. There should be more videos coming. There's my dog. She comes in and shakes off right at the end of it. So I'll see you guys in the next one.